was an indoor-only one, which Bob had thought would suffice because a lot of the plumbing was inside the wall, but it still froze over and broke, or something happened to that effect. Apparently it's gonna be $8,000 to $10,000 to replace.
But the original wasn't even that,
Wasn't even,
that cost.
oh, that I don't know.
The original was, I don't remember, but it was in the like 2, 3, 4,
The original that was there before, you mean?
the one that,
The one that's broken.
the one that's broken.
The one that's broken, the reason why it's cheaper is because it's an indoor use one, and that apparently won't suffice for the insulation. This is what Bob shared at the lab meeting.
All right, it's 6:32.
We're plugged in, we're on, excellent.
All right, Jackie, you can pass me the words, because I'm still somewhere on the Danube. Yeah. All right, this meeting is called pursuant to the provisions of the Open Public Meeting Act. This meeting was included in a list of meeting notices sent to the Bergen Record and Herald News and advertised in said newspaper in January, posted on the bulletin board in the municipal building, and has remained continuously posted as the required notices under the statute. In addition, a copy of this notice is and has been available to the public and is on file in the office of the municipal clerk. Jackie, please call the roll.
Councilmember Martin? Councilmember Gilbreth?
Here.
Councilmember Orley?
Here.
Councilmember Call?
Here.
Councilmember Rosansky? Here. Councilmember Rosenstein?
Here.
Thank you.
God
bless. So, the first thing on the agenda is, we're back to the bulk waste update, but I wanted to ask Amy, because she had wanted to talk to Bob a little bit. I thought we might just spend 5 minutes, not a lot of time, talking about, some parameters that, might be there. I mean, it's pretty straightforward. We're not gonna get into the weeds with the shape of something, the height, it's gotta be a relatively broad base, so I think it really comes down to the number of items. A number of the surrounding towns put a limit on either 5 or 6. I spoke to Bob and I said, I'd rather go up a little higher than that. To me, 8 feels like the right number, don't ask me why. 10 feels too high, 8 feels about right. It would be one of the contractor trash bags is an item, put anything you want in it. It could be a dresser, a mattress, and that's, separate large items that make up what is bulky waste. And you can put your stuff in your contractor bag. That's what I'd like to go to Bob with, to say, here's what what we'd like to do. If anybody has other thoughts about that.
I just have a question. Do we know how much approximately that would save the borough?
It's really depends on what people put out, but I would say every time we have one of the full house, half houses, you can estimate that's about a truckload, but that's still weight. So it's gonna be somewhere between 1,000, 1,500, and, if somebody puts out, benches, weights, right? You're gonna have because it is by weight when you go to dump.
I'm sorry if I wasn't clear. Do we have any idea how much it would save us perhaps on an annual basis?
No.
And that may not be easily figured out.
That's not easily figured out. That's not a number. But I will say is that most surrounding towns have put some kind of cap, because what people are doing is they're not renting their own dumpster, and we are all paying for their house cleaning. And that does not I don't think that was the intention when this was done initially. It was really for a convenience for folks that you can get rid of things you need to get rid of, but it wasn't really meant to supplement your house cleaning. So.
May I inquire, Council President, if, whatever the limit is, if we say it's 8 and somebody puts out 15, what is do we take it and charge them? Do we take 8 and leave the other 7?
You leave it. And the other thing which I'd like to see if we could do is that also in looking at some of the other towns, they include it in their procedures as opposed to embedding it in their ordinance. so that if it seems like it ends up being too much or too little, it's a bit, there's a little bit more flexibility. And let's say that dumping fees go even higher than they are today. You could, bring it down a little bit as opposed to having to redo an ordinance. But other towns have it in their, on their website page to say, let's, adjust this, and it makes it a little bit more flexible. I don't think, frankly, I don't think the other towns do adjustments constantly, because it doesn't make sense. But there's some, little adjustment in there. Other thoughts? Because otherwise, either Amy and I will go to Bob and kind of figure that out and.
So I guess I would just say, I agree that 5 or 6 sounds very low. I would like to find out what Bob thinks about 8 or even 10, because.
He thinks it's too high.
He does think it's too high.
Yeah, he does.
Well, I'll talk to him, and then I'll bring it back.
Perfect, okay.
Yep,
I think we're at the point where we can talk to him about it.
absolutely. And then we can get that taken care of, right? And then I know, I was not here at the last meeting, but I do wanna get the garage sale piece back on. And just for everybody who was not 100% clear, the elements of that garage sale ordinance are what we have today. We just cannot enforce what we have today because we have no mechanism to track. And that's the reason for updating the ordinance, is to have a tracking mechanism to make it enforceable. It's not enforceable today. And we had a complaint, for anybody who's been around and been coming to these meetings, like a number of years ago. It wasn't one of the usual suspects that you're all saying, oh, I know what street that probably was, you don't. And we couldn't do anything about it because there was no enforcement mechanism in there. There was no way to track. And that's why we wanna update it so that it is enforceable. We've, over the years, have been trying to make sure that anything we have on the books is enforceable, otherwise it's just silly. So.
I totally agree, it should be enforceable. I think my only objection, I think Amy was on board with that too, we don't want to put an onus on the resident by setting a fee.
And we agreed last time, no fee.
Yeah.
No fee, we
Or
agreed
no.
last time, no fee, we just are gonna have a
Yeah,
registration
tracking is good.
mechanism,
Yeah.
but, no fee. It's not $10 a garage sale with a limit of 4 a year, that is not, it's really just a way to track it so that we have the ability to enforce an existing ordinance that's on the books.
But what we agreed, I think, was not even to charge the $10.
That's what I said, right, no
No
fee,
fee.
no fee, yes.
Just a registration, online registration, just to let the
Right.
borough know that you're having them.
Right,
Right.
Mhm.
And that way we can deal with it. Okay, great. All right, so Jen, you can,
You wanted me to take the pen on it versus Mr. Rupp?
do you want me to go back to Mr. Rupp?
I am pleased to do either way. Just wanted to.
You go ahead and do it.
Okay.
Okay. That would be, if you change your mind, just let me know.
It's fine.
Okay.
And it can be done through the SDL, but it's recommended to be done upstairs, so we don't have to get another license to get it.
Okay, so can we make a point to talk to Tracy? And just, honestly, we don't have this huge volume in town, we really don't. I don't think it's particularly onerous, but we just need to have some place to put it, and it's a good point that we don't wanna expand a license for something that we don't need to. Okay.
And we're exempting the townwide garage sale.
The townwide garage sale, totally exempt. And I should have said when we started this meeting, we are going into close at 7:15 tonight. Absolutely, we have a matter that we need to discuss, so 7:15, we're gonna go into close. Right. So, let's go around the table, see what folks have. You wanna start with this?
Sure. I have just one item from GRAC. GRAC has been working with the Ridgewood Green Team, which has been spearheading really this, looking at the county park, Saddle River County Park, where there are lots of flooding concerns and water erosion concerns, which are a concern both for safety and well-being in the park and possibly even property damage beyond the park. So Ridgewood has been quite concerned, and Greg has been working with them. The Ridgewood Green team brought in a team from Columbia that did a whole assessment and report about flooding conditions in the park and safety and erosion conditions in the park, and sort of a 3-year plan for maybe trying to address some of those. And so first I just wanted to let council know that this is going on, but also there is currently, the New Jersey DEP is offering grants that seem like perfectly tailored to this county park concern. Grants of $300,000 each to improve climate resilience in local communities. It has to be applied for by a group of at least 3 municipalities, and the teams that receive the grants will also receive DEP consulting and oversight of their environmental projects. So GRAC would very much like, and I would recommend, that we become one of the 3 towns to sign off on that grant application so that we can hopefully receive that money and do what we can to improve the park.
Well, no brainer.
Yeah.
Everyone?
Absolutely.
Perfect. All right. Thank you. That's all I have.
So I have a couple of updates from the Business Commission. We conducted a survey over the spring and summer to evaluate input from business and commercial property owners. And the restrictive parking ordinance was identified as the primary reason that property owners were unable to rent their commercial spaces, and that new businesses chose not to seek or fail to successfully establish themselves in Glen Rock. And that was further supported by our meeting with Tracy, who provided us with dozens of examples of businesses that were considering moving to Glen Rock but had failed to complete the application or had rescinded their application after learning about our restrictive parking ordinance because they'd be unable to meet the requirement or would be tied up for a prolonged period of time by applying for a variance, which can become very costly if the business owner has to hire attorneys and architects and planning consultants. And this was recently demonstrated in a planning board hearing that occurred because of a discrepancy in our current parking ordinance. It has 2 separate sets of criteria for dining establishments. It was a local restaurant that had to have a planning board hearing, and he testified how costly it was and time consuming for his business. And at that meeting, the planning board noted that the criteria should be reviewed and clarified to prevent future businesses from having to come to the planning board and choose between those 2 criteria. So it seems to the Business Commission that the current parking ordinance as it relates to retail and restaurant establishments hasn't really been substantially updated since 2009. So we're asking the mayor and council to refer the parking ordinance to the planning board for review as it relates to the master plan, and make any revisions or recommendations for amending the parking ordinance to support our local business growth. So, how do you feel about that?
Sounds great. So there's, like, how many businesses responded?
53.
That's terrific.
Yeah.
Can I just ask, because I'm not so familiar, in what way is our parking ordinance restrictive that needs to be changed?
Well, because we have a limited number of parking spaces downtown, for example, if you're a restaurant and you want to have just counter service, you need 2 parking spaces. If you want to have table service, you need 6 parking spaces. If you want it, and it increases exponentially, and we just don't have it.
Right, so the parking spaces are already there, right?
But we don't have enough.
Right,
Right.
but the parking requirements are for the business to provide, it has nothing to do with on-street supply.
Right.
I mean, if we're saying we have limited on-street supply, that sort of is part of the rationale as to why we have the, more parking requirements for the businesses.
So we're
Also, like,
requiring businesses to
employees.
provide parking spots that don't exist.
Right.
And
So they walk away and they go to other towns.
And their employees also have to park
Yeah.
further away.
And Tracy had dozens of examples of businesses that wanted to come to Glen Rock and just found it too prohibitive. And she also pointed out that she previously worked for Ridgewood, and in their central business district, which is older like ours and has limited parking, they don't have any such criteria. And it's basically just, if you have a fabulous restaurant, people will walk 2 blocks away to get to it. And so, I'm not saying that we should be the judge and jury on this, I'm just saying we should ask the planning board to talk to the experts and see, because things have changed since 2019, since the pandemic. A lot more people work from home, we have fewer commuters, our parking needs have changed, our commuter spots have changed. And I think that to make Glen Rock more friendly to businesses and to promote business growth and fill our empty storefronts and make our commercial property owners happy, we need to revisit.
How many empty storefronts do we have right now?
Couldn't tell you.
Too many.
Enough that it warrants, I think, to definitely, at the very least, have the planning board review this and see if there are recommendations. I don't see any harm in it whatsoever.
No, I agree, and even if there aren't that many now, you know, that's just cyclical with the economy, so we may as well be prepared.
So one thing I just want everybody to think about is that parking in the lots for the trains is one of our few revenue sources in our town. And right now, we do not have metered parking, you know, for our town, which we don't want to, you know, that's, you know, one of the reasons we like people coming to Glen Rock, you just park, you don't have to pay, which is a fabulous thing. But, you know, the flip side of using those spots is it is a revenue reduction in a town that does not have a lot of revenue sources.
So I think what we have to do, one of the things that would have to be done is to survey those 2 lots that charge, because I'm pretty sure that Main Street parking lot is never full. And,
Today.
Well, but
Right.
are you suggesting, or is the business commission suggesting that we would stop charging for the train lots, or they're just
No,
saying that
not
we
at
should
all.
get rid of this requirement
I think
tying
just
into
loosening that
this?
requirement, not getting rid of
To
any.
provide off-street parking.
Yeah, that they have to provide off-street parking that just doesn't exist and prohibits them from opening. Ridgewood does it, and I'm not saying that we should do it, but I'm saying let our professionals explore it.
Did did Ridgewood change their ordinance after they put the deck in?
I don't know.
Cause they don't have a problem now, cause they have
the parking garage.
parking garage, huge deck.
But they still have a parking problem.
Because people don't wanna drive and park in the deck,
Right,
which
and-
nobody understands, no, I don't understand why that is,
There's
but.
so many mistakes. There's
You know,
so many
but,
mistakes.
I mean, I think the planning board, I just, you know, from a revenue perspective, with such limited revenue sources, it's something that we really need to
But that's why I was
think
saying,
about.
like, we need to see
Mhm.
if there are if there's additional parking in those, like, you know, as we all know, after the pandemic, a lot of people are not going into New York 5 days a week.
It's starting to change now too.
It is, it is.
And wouldn't having more businesses increase our tax base?
No,
Why?
because taxes are paid on the
And
buildings, and
then
it's
we
not
have
paid on the
ownership
business.
the-
There is no,
ownership on the building.
more business, I am pro-business, but more businesses or fewer businesses makes 0 difference on our tax base. It's the property owner that
This makes
pays.
our town
The
more
only,
attractive.
the only place that you get a piece of the revenue
We do have
is for
new businesses
cannabis.
coming in, I'm not really excited for it.
Well, just to be clear, if we're attracting more attractive businesses and property owners are incentivized to improve their buildings, taxes do go up. So there is a flow to it.
Yes, if they improve their building, but I wanna be very clear, cause people have this misconception that we get a cut of every business, and gee, isn't it better for us?
Oh,
And
no.
that is not true.
My only point was I've spoken with a number of property owners on Rock Road who have told me, yes, we would invest more in these properties if we had higher paying tenants.
If they were collecting rent.
Indeed.
Boo, 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 boo. Yeah, they already told you.
So.
Councilmember McCullough, may I inquire, just in terms of the motion or the resolution that would be prepared if the governing body wished to move forward? So is it throughout C2, the central business district? Is it just on Rock Road? Did they have a particular area that they wanted?
It really seems like it's just the central business district,
Okay.
because the, business owners responding from the other business areas don't have the issue.
And the survey is very impressive. Thank you for spearheading it. I was at the business commission meeting where you presented it. The data was very compelling.
It's given us a lot of great ideas for how to improve business development, a lot of projects.
Awesome.
Okay.
I just have stuff for after.
So can we make a motion? I would like to make the motion to send this matter to planning board.
I'll second that.
Do we need a formal resolution in
Well,
another
we
meeting?
would, but if we take this, then I can prepare
You
it for
can
the next
prepare.
meeting.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay with that?
I'm just gonna make a couple
Yeah,
announcements
just
in
That's
public.
separate outside.
Outside?
I have two things. Oh, Amy, you're good?
Yeah.
We're
Oh, fair enough, sorry. Two quick things. One, which I mentioned earlier, at the last RAB meeting, we discussed the water fountain at Faber that needs replacing. The old one was designed for indoor use. The thought was that because the plumbing is behind walls, that it might not be an issue. Unfortunately, it did break. Bob advised it's going to be between $8,000 and $10,000 to replace it. Obviously very costly. RAB folks were inquiring as to how much is in the open space fund. I discussed with Donna earlier, asking to find out how much is in there. RAB is proposing that we use funds out of that fund to replace the water fountain, which I think is a terrific idea. I know I have my 3-year-old playing soccer at Faber every Saturday, and you know it's helpful to have water there. Kids don't have a water source other than the faucets.
This is the water filling station?
It's both I think the idea is both a water filling
No, wait.
station for bottles as well as.
Right, is it because there is a water filling station at Fairburn?
The one that is in
So-
between the men's and women's bathroom.
Right, so that one, you mean that's on the DPW side?
Correct.
That is a water filling station. The reason it's so expensive is because a couple of years ago, we went out and surveyed all the areas in town, the public spaces that needed water filling stations in efforts so people would stop using plastic bottles. They would see that so when all the families are at games, they could just bring reusable water. So those are not just regular water fountains, they're filtered water filling stations. And Bob I can talk to you about it, because we had planned with Greg, and COVID interfered with everything, but to install one at the alcove and another one at Wild Memorial.
Okay.
So I'm just thinking that maybe we can get that back
Partners,
going,
yeah.
and just instead of just doing à la carte again, maybe we can.
So I know we've discussed that about the alcove. The problem with the alcove is that there is no water source there.
We'd have to, Sylvia had talked to the owner of the building, the brick building, because there is water there. There actually is a water pipe in the ground that can be used, that can be tapped into.
Yeah, I thought we eliminated that from a possibility, because we talked about the complexities of tapping into private water.
I'm not sure. I
That's
don't
my-
think
that's
it
my
was on the table.
recollection.
But
I don't know, I just know
we
as
should
far
go back
as,
and- I'd
you know,
like to
planting and
revisit that.
trees in that area, we've had extensive conversations based on the fact that there is no water available. So
There's no-
something could be
there's-
different as far as the water
Yeah, I mean,
filling
I know
station,
that
but-
there, because I've been also, there is water there, but you have to
But I
tap
don't know
into
that
it.
it's available to us.
Yes, and it may not be available to us,
Yeah.
but I'll revisit.
As to the other locations, more than glad if we can get,
Yeah,
other,
exactly.
filling stations, I'll use the proper terminology, installed. I've had quite a number of parents reach out to me about, Faber in particular. I want to see what the council's feeling is with regard to tapping the open space funds to cover this. It's something that likely wouldn't be installed until the spring, just because at this point to order it and then line up someone to install it is going to take some time. But RAB's feeling, and I join them in this, is that this would be a very good use of those funds which are there for use.
Well, let's come back to the next meeting with a full accounting of where we are with open space, what we've used, and kind of look at that holistically. I'm not opposed, because I think the water fillers are wonderful, and we should use them. I think we have time before the spring to get that underway, but let's take a holistic.
Do we know how
look.
that one broke?
That one broke.
Was it the pipe or was it what?
I think it was the internal systems,
Mechanism?
because it was designed for indoor use, and it did not, shall we say, thrive with outdoor use.
Did you talk about?
Bob was saying there was some replacement parts where he was trying to make repairs on it somehow.
Cause he was big
This was-
in installing that, so I'm gonna talk to him
Unless I
about it, cause I'm
misunderstood
pretty
what-
sure that we purchased one that was for outdoor use.
At least what he told me, and when he was at the meeting, he
Yeah.
said that it was designed for indoor use, and he thought that it would work in that location, because I believe he said the plumbing ran behind the wall.
Yes,
And
that
it-
is true.
Yeah,
And
so.
part of it was
That's why I was
sourcing the
asking if there's a
proper
pipe.
replacement parts for pieces of it that had malfunctioned, that we're having trouble getting
Okay.
replacement parts that are rated for outside.
So maybe before the next meeting, we could nail down all the specifics of what is needed, what was there, and the open space, and then, put that together.
And if we could also, as part of that, have maybe a little refresher, what the open space trust, I know we had parameters for what it can or should be used for. My sense was that it, you know, I guess recreation is broad, but something like fixing a water filling station sounds to me more like sort of a regular expense than the kind of thing we had envisioned that for. Maybe installing one fits better, I don't know, I'd like to.
I have
hear
that
more
under
about
one of
it.
the items for Steve also to be involved with, because I explained about the open space, and I actually just mentioned to Seth that, probably any of the entities looking to spend any money through open space should have some sort of comprehensive plan, so that, you know, anything that needs to be done, everybody's not competing for the same money. So I do have that as one of the action items for Steve.
And at a bare minimum, it should be a budget line item, and figure out how we're gonna pay for it, but at least it gets on there. Whether it's 1, 2, or 3 of them, you know, to further enhance or reduce our dependence on plastic water bottles and have the refills that, you know, kids and families can use.
And I have one other item that I wanted to address, an email, Eileen Pellock is here, sent around a proposal from the dog park for installing a permanent, word is always, it's been a long day.
Longstanding.
Indeed, memorial for the 9/11 rescue animals. So I don't know whether you all have seen that in your inbox. I wanted to gauge the council's interest in approving such a memorial, which does not require any funding from the borough. It's just pursuant to the lease between the borough and the dog park. Any installations need to be approved by the borough.
I think it's great. Where would it be?
So Eileen can certainly speak to it, if that's okay.
Yeah, just by a show of hands, did anyone see the proposal?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, terrific.
I've been floating down the Danube, so no.
Oh, nice. So we are proposing, it would be a permanent installation based on the 9/11 Search and Rescue Dog Memorial that's in Essex County. So we have a meeting coming up with the Essex County Executive, Joe DiVincenzo, who was instrumental in getting that there. We're also reaching out to the sculptor from Washington State that did that. So in terms of installation, we currently have a 9/11 Memorial Garden that's there. It was a Girl Scout Silver Award project years ago. So depending on the size, weight, et cetera, we'd like to probably place it either in or near the garden towards the front of the park.
So the garden, I mean, is that part of, that's within the bounds of the dog park?
Correct. Yeah, we got that approved years ago.
Right, no, I figured that, but, so this would still be within the bounds of the dog park, wouldn't
Yes.
be outside of it, for
Yes.
whatever reason?
Yeah, as Seth mentioned, anything that's a permanent installation.
No, I know,
But I just wanted to say, we need approval for it, we don't wanna start
Yeah.
fundraising prior to
Of
gauging
course.
interest. And also, once we build it, it becomes yours, like everything that we build in the dog park, gazebos, everything that's there, the town owns. We maintain it, you own it. So it's an investment in the town, and we've already gotten several corporate sponsors that want to sponsor it based on the News 12 broadcast that was done. And thank you to the council members that attended that day and to the potential council members that attended the 9/11 ceremony. It was beautiful. News 12 New Jersey did a long story on it that continued throughout the day and the next day. So we've gotten a lot of people reaching out, but we're reluctant to accept any money until we gauge whether you guys think it's a good idea. We think you're gonna think it's a good idea, but we want to get the conversation started early and transparency.
I think it's a great idea. That was a lovely ceremony that you had, and yeah, I think it would really highlight the park.
Can we formally add this to the October 8th meeting? Cause it wasn't part of our agenda and I'm not ready to even think about it, so, cause it's
Yeah, I mean, it is kind of something that should go on an agenda.
an official agenda.
We should, but yes, I mean, I think it's a beautiful idea as well. I did look at the proposal, I did read through it, and, yeah, it just makes a lot of sense. I think it helps also have people understand when they go to the dog park, really what it is memorializing. So, yeah, I think it's
Bill
lovely.
on the October meeting as a resolution on the consent
Well,
agenda?
so I think the point
Well,
is,
I
we
think
don't,
we
we
need to discuss
it
don't,
more.
we don't yet have a design to approve, and that's what we would need to memorialize. Candidly, that's why I brought it up as more informally than as an agenda item. The dog park's request was just to gauge the interest in approving it before they start fundraising. That at a later point, once there is a concrete proposal with a design, that's when I would request to put it on the
I
agenda.
actually think that the design, maybe I'm out of place by saying this, but it seems like for us to approve something, even though it sounds like a great concept, but for us to approve something that there's nothing literally concrete to approve, it does make it a little hard. Is there a way that you can get like a drawing or something like that that can be seen, like, because we don't know the size, we don't know the
So
scale.
in the proposal that I sent is a photograph of the existing memorial in Essex County.
Right.
But to answer your question, actually, no. Until we fundraise and see how much money we get, we can't really design it. It's a catch-22, which is everything. It comes up with everything that we do. We need to raise the money first and see how far we can go. It came with installing the water and the gazebos.
Right.
Because we're 100% nonprofit.
But you
with no money
can't,
from
right,
the
but
town.
I do this for a living too, so I understand that.
Well, I don't do it for a living.
Yeah,
It's
well, yeah, so
volunteer.
what I'm saying is that we do need something a little bit more concrete in the space, like for
Amy,
instance.
I totally agree with you, and as part of the proposal, I said, or we said, as we get closer to it, of course we would come to the council for approval as soon as we have the design. This truly is an informal, if anybody had some issue with doing something like this and
Right.
said, no, absolutely, we never wanna do this, that's what we're asking. We don't require approval until we ask for it to go in. So it really was just gauge the temperature. I'm feeling that nobody's like dead set against it. But of course, we come back with more details when we have it. We won't have that by October.
Right, okay, well, because it's even hard to, like, I could see the proposal and with it, but there was no scale. You know, it's hard to tell the scale, it's hard to tell and without having like a schematic of, where you're saying, okay, we wanna place it, cause you're
But
saying like we might place it
that's all to come. We're
here,
not
we
going
might
to
place
do
it here.
anything without doing that. This truly is, in theory,
Right.
if the dog park were to put something of a permanent memorial at the dog park, does anyone on the council have an issue with that? And we would totally work with you on the wording. I mean, Seth asked all those questions. I have to give him credit. What is it gonna look like? What's the wording? And I was very honest. We are in like day 4
Right.
of this. But
Yeah.
because we've got
Yeah.
reach out already, we felt it was only fair to bring it to you guys early.
I mean, it sounds like a lovely idea. I just fear like, it's like with the Arts Council too, like, it's like we gave them the go-ahead to do a mural, but, nothing is gonna be approved until it goes through, a bit of a process. So I think that we just have to be very clear that, like, we'd love for you to go forward with it, but by no means is the council on behalf of the borough, like, approving
Totally agree.
exactly the project. I just wanna be clear, cause I
Yep.
just don't want there to be, like, later on, if there's questions or whatever, that,
Totally agree.
you know.
We would like
So we
to
want to-
gauge interest so that we can start fundraising and then come up with a
We should've
proposal
been on
and
the
present it to you, et cetera, et cetera.
So I guess I have a question, because I feel like we've now jumped ahead to saying, you know, that we love the idea when I don't feel like I actually know as much as I would like to about the idea. So I did see the email that you sent, although I didn't realize that we were being asked tonight to make any kind of decision.
I'm not asking you to make a
But, so,
decision.
well, you're,
I'm asking you how
Amy,
you feel
just-
about
I'm
the
sorry, I'm-
proposal.
okay, and so I'm trying to understand what the proposal is, and I totally hear you that you're saying you can't, you know, give design details until you know how much money you can raise. But my question is, what you are contemplating or hoping to do is to put in some kind of metal statue, like heavy steel kind of
Bronze,
statue.
bronze.
Thank you, that would be the thing. Along the lines of the picture that you sent us, that would be a very permanent structure, right, as a.
Yes, the memorial for permanent.
So
Should we
how
put
is
it
this
in
different?
this
Sorry,
and put it
I'm
on
not
the next
part of the
agenda,
vote.
so we'll have more
Put
information?
it on the October 8th agenda, give everybody a chance to look at it.
But I don't
And ask those
understand how it's
questions.
different than, Amy just said, you approve the arts councils, go ahead with the mural, they have to come back. I'm just trying to understand how this is different.
Well, the only reason why it's different is that the Arts Council asked to put it on the agenda, so we could talk about it, we could learn about it prior. So then we had a discussion about it at the, so this wasn't anticipated to have this discussion, so I think some of, in fairness to other council members, I read through it, but if everyone didn't have a chance to, it's not necessarily fair for just on a whim for people to be saying, sure, whatever, go right ahead. That's
Right, and I guess to
that's
me-
what I think the difference is. Sorry,
To
I
me,
just-
frankly, I'm sorry, but there's also a difference between a mural that's pretty easy to paint over and a bronze statue that would be a very permanent addition to borough property. And so I think that's something that we do need a little more ability to think about.
Just to be clear, the only question that I raised was whether them proceeding with fundraising is something that would be problematic. That to the extent that there were going to be any objections, not to the specific installation, but as to the concept of it, if that was going to be opposed.
Right, but the concept of it is what we wanna discuss, right? That's what
Right.
would be decided, and it's not, I mean, they're welcome to go fundraise if that's the only question, but they're saying that before they fundraise, they wanna gauge our interest, and so that's something that we need to discuss, how interested we are, right?
I disagree, but okay.
Okay, so I'm hearing that we can go ahead and fundraise. I'll be honest, we're not going to have any additional information between now and next month if it goes on the agenda. So I would respectfully ask that when you get a chance, everybody read the proposal. And if you have any questions on the proposal, feel free to ask the board. If you'd like to add it to the agenda.
What's the dog that's there now?
Oh, that's just a little concrete statue. Maybe
So it
we'll
would
put
be like
bronze
in
over
a
that.
similar spot type thing?
Ideally, yeah,
Yeah.
but we would have to, again, we don't have the details either.
But it would be bigger, or it would be similar to what's there now?
We don't know, because we
You
have
should
to
just stop
fundraise to
talking
see
about
what
it,
we
it's not on the
have.
Bronze is
agenda.
incredibly
Let's just
expensive.
stop talking about it.
Bronze is incredibly
Right,
expensive.
Teresa wants to stop talking about it, so we can stop talking about it, I'm totally fine with stopping talking about it. I'm hearing that we have the okay to go fundraise, all I'm speaking, I wanna be clear as well, in the interest of transparency. We wrote a very detailed overview proposal. Seth brought it to your attention, we're not going to have any additional information for a while until we fundraise and see what we can possibly do. That's the bottom line.
Understood.
So we can go ahead and fundraise. We don't need approval to fundraise. I
Yeah,
guess we can
exactly, I mean, yes, go ahead.
Go
I mean,
for it.
You know, yeah, I mean, it's a lovely idea. It's a lovely idea. Okay, so, let's open up.
We have we are, as I said, we are finishing this work session at 7:15 because we have a pressing matter. If anybody from the public has comments, feel free.
Hi, Elizabeth Carr, 231 Hamilton. You said, with regards to the garage sale ordinance, you want to make it enforceable. Can you explain to me how you're going to make it enforceable?
Because we'll be able to know when somebody has had X number of garage sales. If somebody today says, my neighbor had 6 garage sales, that's against the ordinance.
Right, and what about the neighbor who doesn't complain or doesn't rant on, how is that fair?
That's true for any ordinance.
That is correct, so I'm just.
But this one, the way it's written today, it is not enforceable. And we try to correct.
Okay, I'm asking a question, okay, I just wanna understand, you said it was enforceable.
I said it was not enforceable.
I asked you how you were gonna enforce it.
Right, because when you track, you
Right.
say, this person registered for 4. Today it's
Okay.
September 25th, this is the 5th one, there's a problem.
Okay, thank you. Oh, I do actually have one more question, I'm sorry, since you don't answer questions in the, I sent an email to the board, to the council. I not only sent it once, but then I sent it twice, and it's now been 2 weeks since I haven't heard from anybody. Am I gonna get a response to my questions?
I don't know, because I haven't seen your questions yet.
Okay, thank you. So, now that you're back from the Danube, I hope that in the next couple of days, somebody will respond and acknowledge it.
Or in the next week or so, when I get through all my emails.
Okay, but 2 weeks, someone could have responded back and said, the council president is unavailable, we will get back to you. It's just a matter of respect. So I have to now approach you, and you have an attitude with me to have.
I haven't been here.
Okay, but there's 5 other council members that could have said, Teresa, and Christine's absent, Teresa's the council president, and the council president is not here, she or someone will get back to you. So all it
And that
takes.
is the case, that someone will get back.
Okay, but it would have been nice if it was 2 weeks ago when I asked the question, because I asked it at the council meeting, and said I was gonna follow up with it.
Okay, well, you just asked now, and so I
Okay,
can
thank
answer
you.
yes, and you will get it.
Thank you, Joe.
So I had made a suggestion to Jill, and I don't know how you felt about it, but I do feel like sometimes we miss emails, and I know that it is the responsibility of the liaison to each committee to respond to emails, but my idea was, why don't we maintain a spreadsheet of every resident email that comes in, what the topic of concern is, who replied, and what
You know,
the
okay,
gist
I
of the
think
reply
we
was.
can do it a lot easier, we used to do it, and I think we got off track, but one of the things that we should get back into is when an email comes in, the person who responds sends an email to everyone else, the reply all, except saying responded.
That would be great.
That's all, we don't need a spreadsheet, we didn't need a,
Yeah.
just the person that did it tells them they
Just to know
responded.
that every email is being
That's what we
responded to.
Can I just ask a quick question, because I know you have to, I just have a question about the bulk trash. I guess you're planning on writing an ordinance, is that, okay?
Consider-
Not necessarily.
We're considering.
Oh, okay, because my question was, I know that Seth had said, I mean, I'm just wondering where this is coming from. I know when I was here at the other meeting, there was one picture that was shown. I mean, we just had bulk on the southeast side, and as I was going to work, I only saw one person who had kind of a lot of stuff out. But my question is, like, what's the data that you use to decide to do this? And how many towns and what were they that you polled, and what are they saying? I mean, to me, it's only once a month. And I always get so mad at myself because I'm like, oh my gosh, it's this week and I didn't look. And I had lived in Fairlawn for many years and we were allowed to put stuff out with every single pickup. So really, it's only 12 times a year that people have the opportunity. I think that maybe it's abused when people are, maybe getting ready to move or do an addition. But
Because I'll tell you why,
I
we
just-
don't need to survey the other towns, our own town and our own public works department is, sometimes it takes them, one, it's costing the borough a lot.
well, we just asked how much it's
We don't
gonna
know how
save
much
us
is.
and
Yeah,
how much
there's no
is a
answer.
lot, like there's no
But the
data
other
to
thing
me.
is the bandwidth for our crews, because sometimes they start very early in the morning, and because they have to go back and forth with these trips with all these bulk mail, junk waste, like my neighbor that lives just down the road from me must have emptied out like half their house, and it
But did
was-
they do that every single month?
No,
You know,
they
but-
just did it, but.
So what's the difference between once a year, this is, I think what your
No,
question is,
because-
or what's the difference between once a year, or if they spread that out over the course of the year?
Because we don't have the bandwidth to do a jump through every week.
Amy,
That's the
if
thing.
I move,
Right.
and I plan to
Why
move
don't
in a
they-
year, listen, and then I know you have to go, if I plan on moving in a year. No, I'm not moving, and I every month take advantage of the opportunity to put stuff on the, what is the difference between that and once a year? There is no
Because-
difference.
When there's room on the top.
Because you're doing
So then
it
maybe
within
you
the
guys should
support
explore
commission.
someone contacting the DPW.
No, the difference is, Liz, that if you're moving and you need for help, you should be hiring.
Oh, well, I agree with you in that respect.
Or you should be.
I mean, that's
I'm gonna put an end to this now.
That's besides the point, yeah.
No, but that's-
Can I get a motion to go into closed?
I know.
Can I get a
But you
second?
don't do that, and you know that.
No, I want to. That's.
I know.
to see if anybody else has anything to say. If there is any 1 minute.
There will be more public. If anybody needed to have public comment, we'll be inside and we take public comment in there as well.
And you'll answer questions. So it's not the same as this. Right, but the working session is the use of both girls, so we can't answer any questions.
I know. Well, we'll talk about it. I know, I'm not disagreeing with you,
Closed session.
Okay.
Okay. Good evening, everybody. This meeting is called pursuant to the provisions of the Open Public Meeting Act. This meeting was included in a list of meeting notices sent to the Bergen Record and Herald News and advertised in said newspaper in January, posted on the bulletin board in the municipal building, and has remained continuously posted as the required notices under the statute. In addition, a copy of this notice is and has been available to the public and is on file in the office of the municipal clerk. Jackie, please call the roll.
Councilmember Martin?
Here.
Councilmember Gilbert?
Here.
Councilmember Orlik?
Here.
Councilmember Call?
Here.
Councilmember Rosansky?
Here.
Councilmember Rosenstein?
Here.
All right. Flag salute. Maureen, would you do us the honor?
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay. We have two proclamations on here. We have three. Sorry, we have three. Fire prevention, opioid, and breast cancer awareness. Okay. Let's take Fire Prevention Week, and if we can start this end.
Proclamation, Fire Prevention Week 2025. Whereas the Borough of Glen Rock, New Jersey is committed to ensuring the safety and security of all those living in and visiting Glen Rock, and
Whereas fire is a serious public safety concern, both locally and nationally, and homes are the locations where people are at greatest risk from fire. And
Whereas Glen Rock joins the National Fire Protection Association, the NFPA, in celebrating the 100th anniversary of Fire Prevention Week, October 5th through the 11th, 2025, with this year's campaign, Smoke Alarms, Make Them Work for You, working to educate everyone about the importance of having working smoke alarms in the home. And
Whereas you may have as little as 2 minutes to safely escape a home fire from the time the smoke alarm sounds, and your ability to get out of a home during a fire depends on early warning from smoke alarms and advanced planning. And
Whereas Glen Rock's residents should install smoke alarms in every sleeping room, outside each sleeping area, and on every level of the home. And
Whereas Glen Rock's residents should listen for the sound of the smoke alarm, and when it sounds, respond by going outside immediately to the designated meeting place. And
whereas Glen Rock's residents who have planned and practiced a home fire escape plan to meet the needs of all who live in the home are more prepared and will therefore be more likely to survive a fire. And
whereas the Glen Rock Volunteer Fire Department is dedicated to reducing the occurrence of home fires and home fire injuries through prevention and protection education.
now therefore be it resolved that the mayor of the Borough of Glen Rock does hereby proclaim October 5th through 11th, 2025 as Fire Prevention Week throughout this borough,
We urge all the people of Glen Rock to be aware of their surroundings, look for available ways out in the event of a fire or other emergency, respond when the smoke alarm sounds by exiting the building immediately, and support the many public safety activities and efforts of Glen Rock's Fire and Emergency Services during Fire Prevention Week 2025. Further, the Mayor and Council of the Borough of Glen Rock would like to recognize our volunteer fire department and the Fire Prevention Bureau for the countless hours of service they provide to our community. And I think it goes without saying that in our town in Glen Rock, each and every one of us should be grateful every day that we have such a wonderful volunteer fire department. And every time I hear those sirens go and hear the fire trucks going down the street, I always, think about their safety and the safety of whoever they're going to actually visit. So take care and make sure that your smoke alarms are working. This is the time of year, we're coming up to the time when we change the clocks, and that's always a good time to check the smoke alarms in your house and make sure that they are working. Okay. All right, the next resolution is Opioid Abuse Day. Should we start with Jill? Sorry.
Thank you, Council President. Whereas the state of New Jersey is in the midst of a life-threatening opioid abuse epidemic, and
whereas the Partnership for a Drug-Free New Jersey has designated October 6, 2025 as Knockout Opioid Abuse Day, and
whereas this designation is intended to raise awareness of the potential for dependency on prescribed pain medicine and its link to heroin and fentanyl use in our state, and
whereas the Knockout Opioid Abuse Day designation also seeks to reduce the stigma of addiction and shine a light on the need for recovery support, and
whereas the initiative also aims to inform physicians of safer prescribing messages found in the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention guidelines for prescribing opioids, which include considering other therapies, setting realistic treatment goals with patients, and discussing with patients the positive and negatives of opioids, and
whereas the New Jersey State Senate and General Assembly jointly resolved that October 6th shall be permanently designated as Knockout Opioid Abuse Day in order to raise awareness about the dangers of and the link between prescription opioid abuse and heroin addiction, and to educate healthcare providers, community leaders, state lawmakers, and members of the public about the opioid abuse epidemic and its effects throughout the state of New Jersey and across the country. Whereas the Borough of Glen Rock supports initiatives designed to raise awareness about opioid abuse in New Jersey and take steps to prevent addiction. Now therefore be it resolved that the Mayor and Council of the Borough of Glen Rock hereby recognize October 6, 2025 as Knockout Opioid Abuse Day in the Borough of Glen Rock. And I think you've probably seen and heard that our Board of Health has been taking action to have Narcan around. And would you like to say a few words about that, Beth? I would as part of my committee report, but I'd be happy to give it now. So the Board of Health actually just recently put together 20 Narcan pouches. We're very happy. We'll be distributing those to the local businesses in the Central Business District this week. And there is Narcan training available to all residents for free through a partnership that we have with Rutgers RWJ. So we are very supportive of this initiative, and very, very soon we will have our new AED/Narcan boxes put up all over town. That's great. Thank you so much.
thanks.
And our third proclamation is for Breast Cancer Awareness Month, October 2025. And again, I'll start with you, Jill.
Thank you. Whereas every day, more than 700 women in the United States are diagnosed with breast cancer, and for these women, the impact of breast cancer extends well beyond the single month dedicated to awareness. And
whereas breast cancer is the second most common cancer affecting women, an estimated 1 in 8 women, or 13%, will develop breast cancer over the course of their lifetime. and 397,790 women were diagnosed with invasive breast cancer in the United States in 2023. And as of January 2022, over 4 million were living with a history of breast cancer in the United States. And
whereas only 5 to 10% of breast cancer diagnoses are considered to be hereditary, putting every woman at risk for this disease regardless of her genetic profile. And
whereas early detection is one of the most important strategies for treating breast cancer successfully. When detected early, the 5-year relative survival rate is 99%. Early detection includes monthly breast self-exams and regular clinical breast exams and mammograms. And
whereas disparities still exist in breast cancer treatment by race and socioeconomic class, and important work by the American Cancer Society and the National Breast Cancer Coalition need to be supported. And
whereas, as a community, we want to express our love and support for those residents who have been touched by breast cancer. We mourn those who have lost their battle. We stand by those currently fighting, and we applaud the triumph of survivors, while recognizing the effects of this disease are something you will deal with for the rest of your life. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Borough of Glen Rock does hereby proclaim the month of October 2025 as Breast Cancer Awareness Month in Glen Rock, New Jersey, to increase awareness of this disease, encourage our residents to get screened regularly, and to support efforts that improve access to care. Thank you. Okay. All right, we have departmental reports, and I will start with Councilmember Martin.
thank you. Thank you very much. Hi, everybody. I have a few updates for the library. One is the Friends of the Library are hosting a new fundraiser. It's a Taste of Italy at the Glen Rock Athletic Club. It will be next Saturday night, October 4th. You can purchase tickets at the door or definitely in advance, which would be much more welcome, at friendsglenrocklibrary.org. And tickets are $75. There's wine that will be matched, and lots of food. Looks like a great event. I wanted to give an update about the construction of the library's elevator, which is set to, construction will be happening soon this fall. This long-awaited project significantly will improve the library's accessibility, funded primarily through state and county grants. And I want to really underscore that because I've heard that there is some misinformation floating around about this elevator project, and the project is 100% within budget, and it is being funded. The vast majority of it is being done through grants. So I want to make sure that's very clear. And just a couple of points for residents. Please check the website regularly. There will be updates for access and things, but just a couple of things for people to be aware of. The library will remain open during the construction, but patrons, again, will check the website and plan ahead. Key changes during construction. Make sure that you enter through the Rock Road doors, not the back, but the Rock Road doors. And ADA access will be available via the Children's Department from the parking lot. Limited parking there will only be limited parking in the lot itself, but there'll be additional parking on Hamilton Avenue, on Rock Road, Harding Plaza after 4 p.m. On the weekends and in Wild Park. Occasional service disruptions may occur, so please, again, check the website, and the updates will be at, of course, the Glen Rock Library website, which is glenrocklibrary.org. Public Works, there was the styrofoam collection last weekend. There was maybe I noticed some people were putting styrofoam out on the curb. So maybe we needed to make it a little more clear. The styrofoam collections happen at the recycling center. And the next one will be in January. We'll have one January, May, and September. I'll have the exact dates as we get a little further along in the year. Arts Council is super busy. This Sunday, they are having their Music Fest right here on the Borough Hall lawn. It's going to be very fun from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. So you can come, sit under the tent, or just enjoy, stroll around. There's going to be different bands, different music throughout the day. We're really looking forward to that. They're also doing a snapshot in time. It's only going to be up on exhibit at the Arboretum on this weekend, again from Saturday and Sunday. Sunday at 4, the Glen Rock Pops will be playing there, and there will be a special reception if you would like to meet the artists, their photographers, on Friday evening. And I just wanted to give a little note about what this is. The Snapshot in Time is the Arts Council and the Arboretum joining together to support the arts, to support the Arboretum and photography. And the Snapshot in Time is a collaborative exhibition which will showcase diverse photography skills of local participants while raising awareness about these two organizations. So that should be lovely. So if you're in the area, definitely stop by. Yeah. Yes, Friday. Oh, right. Oh, sorry. Well, it says I have here, Simon, a special opening night wine and cheese reception also open to the public. So, yes, so maybe that was a change. So also open to the public, and that's from 7 to 9. And also on Saturday, the Glen Rock Pops, sorry. I said Sunday, but it's Saturday. The Pops will be playing with a rain date on Sunday. And lastly, from the Arts Council, Monday, the 29th, after everyone's going to have all this fabulous time at the Arboretum, the Arts Council will be having their Glen Rock Music Jam at the Annex at 7 p.m. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember Orlick?
Thank you, Council President. First, I would like to thank the Glen Rock Police Department, as always, for everything that they do to keep us all safe. In the month of September, the Police Department received 1,160 calls for service, responding to all those calls and all the things that come up in town. So a big thank you to the Police Department. GREC will be hosting a table at the Music Fest event that Councilmember Martin just discussed, and really encourages residents to please come speak to them. They would love to discuss some of the initiatives that they're involved in, so please look for them there. And then on behalf of the Stigma Free Committee, I would like to mention that October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. On behalf of the mayor and council, I want to let all victims know that we stand with them and are here to support them and encourage them to reach out to any of our Glen Rock first responders for assistance. On October 4th, Bergen County will be holding a Walk Out of Darkness, which is aimed at showing support for mental health and those struggling with mental health issues, and to offering hope to those affected by suicide. The Stigma Free Committee is trying to put together a team of people to walk in that walk, which is the morning of October 4th at Overpeck Park. So please sign up on the website and join us. We'd love to have as many Glen Rockers as possible. Thank you.
Sorry. Thank you, Councilmember Orlick. Councilmember Rosansky?
Thank you, Council President. So, as always, I'd like to thank the Glen Rock Volunteer Fire Department for always showing up and being such a great service to our community. Last month, they responded to 21 alarms and conducted 2 drills for a total of 270 hours for the month. And also I wanted to thank Council President for her nice words about how amazing of a service they provide for our town. And we look forward to celebrating Fire Prevention Week with the Glen Rock Fire Department on Sunday, October 19th. They will be holding an open house at the fire station from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. on October 19th. Please go join them for some fun. Thank them for their service. There will be truck tours, demonstrations, children's activities, food, beverages, and more. So please make sure everyone knows how much we support our fire department here. And that is all I have.
Thank you. Councilmember Cole?
Thank you, Council President. So just to continue with my committee report about the Board of Health, I want to let residents know that we're actively looking for a new Board of Health member, preferably someone with an interest in healthcare or social services, who also has social media skills and would be interested in making updates to our Facebook page, keeping residents informed about public health issues and local resources. So you can find the volunteer application on the borough website or in the weekly newsletter on Friday. I also want to tell you that we are extremely pleased to announce that the Board of Health passed a resolution at its August meeting creating 2 student internships for the 2025-2026 school year. And we have 2 students that are signed up, and we're looking forward to continuing this program in the future for high school students who might be interested in pursuing careers in healthcare or social sciences. And that was it, other than the Narcan training and the pouches that are going out. I do want to thank the Glen Rock Volunteer Ambulance Corps. As always, they responded to 45 calls last month using an average of 1.25 hours per call and 2.5 members per call to provide 141 hours of service. As always, we're grateful for their dedication and their expertise and tireless commitment to our community. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Rosenstein?
Thank you, Council President. Fall sports are underway and are going well. Looking forward to seeing everyone out enjoying our beautiful facilities. One thing that we ask is that folks please do pay attention to signs reflecting closed fields, and please do not use closed facilities. They are closed for a reason. That's all for me. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. I have a few things. We start really, community affairs, we really start, I'll say, heating up again after the quiet times in the summer for us in the fall. And, you know, you'll start to see information about the fall pumpkin patch for the littles, Oktoberfest, trunk or treat on 10/26. So you'll start to see those registrations. I think some of them may be up already, but, you know, we have a lot of activities that are coming up, and we look forward to seeing so many of you out there. The next senior advisory meeting is October 14th at 1:30. It's here at Borough Hall in the conference room where we have our work sessions. It's a great thing for seniors to come on out and, you know, talk about what is going on in town for seniors and what other activities do we think we would like to do. So it's really a rewarding activity. So come on out and influence what happens in our town for our seniors. I want to thank Donna Molyneux, who has been acting as our borough administrator and CFO since Lenora's departure. And she will still be with us, acting as our CFO for a little while longer. But we are fortunate to have a new borough administrator starting on Monday. Steve and Neil will be starting here. So feel free to stop by and welcome him to the borough. And we are really excited and looking forward to having him here as our new borough administrator. And I think that's it. So can I get a motion to accept department reports?
I'll make that motion.
And a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Jackie?
All items listed are considered to be routine and non-controversial by the Borough Council and will be approved by one motion. There will be no separate discussion on these items unless the council member so requests it, in which case the item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered in its normal sequence on the agenda. The one motion signifies adoption of all resolutions, receiving file letters, correspondence, reports, and approval of application of minutes. Resolution 1 is for payment of bills. Resolution 2 is for approval of minutes. Resolution 3 is for shared service agreement with Bergen County for road resurfacing. Resolution 4 is for the 2024 audit affidavit and certification, and Resolution 5 is for DPW promotion.
Can I get a motion to accept the consent agenda?
I'll make that motion.
Thank
I'll
you.
second.
Thank you. Jackie, please call the roll.
Councilmember Martin?
Yes.
Councilmember Gilbert?
Yes.
Councilmember Orley?
Yes.
Councilmember Cop?
Yes.
Councilmember Rosansky?
Yes.
Councilmember Rosenstein?
Yes.
Okay. All right, at this time, we are opening up to public comments. So each person has 3 minutes to speak. You must state your name and address. Please go to the podium and then turn the mic on so that anybody can hear you.
Hi, Joan Hughes, 51 Chadwick Place. I just wanted to...
I'm sorry, could you just pull it down a little bit more? It's, yeah.
Is that better?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. No problem. So I just wanted to say, at the work session, it seems like there's just never enough time. And I don't know if there's a way that we could try to move through the agenda items, like if you can specify an amount of time. And again, for when, if public comments, only the 3 minutes. It just seemed like today, I guess I didn't understand that this is your only time to get together also, I guess, and discuss these things openly. Because I'm like, oh, they must meet separately, and then I didn't understand that. John was explaining it to me. So it just seems like there's not enough time. I don't know how we can do it so that there is enough time, or if we can do a separate time for public comments. It doesn't necessarily have to be about just the agenda, just things in general. Which brings me to my other comment. I'm just trying to understand. I've only been coming to council meetings for a couple of months since the sidewalk issue got my attention. And I don't really understand how things come up and are presented and move through. Because with the sidewalk issue, it was presented and it was asked that a committee be formed that would involve residents who were interested in being a part of it, the Shade Tree Committee. It was presented at the meeting, and the council voted it down. And I never understood that when people were coming forth and wanting to be involved. And yet these two issues that you're spending a lot of time talking about don't seem as important to me. The garage sale, because maybe there's 1 or 2 people who are abusing the privilege of having a garage sale, and the bulk pickup. I don't understand what the criteria was for looking to change the bulk pickup. It seems like there was one picture that I saw at the August meeting of a ridiculous amount of stuff. But there were no other pictures shown of other people who might be abusing it throughout town. Seth asked how this is saving money, or is it saving money? It seems like there's been no investigation into that. A comment was made that Bob said, you know, his guys have to go back and forth, but how many times? We're talking about 12 pickups per calendar year. It's only once a month. And again, I don't know, other towns were surveyed or looked into, but we didn't say how many towns, what their considerations were. So here we have this big issue of the sidewalks and the trees, which another tree was just cut down on Chadwick Place today, or yesterday, I'm sorry. And when we asked to have a committee to talk about it, it was voted down. And this, which to me doesn't seem as affecting, I mean, the sidewalks and the trees have to affect at least 75% of the people. I walk around town all the time to the park and back, and there are many sidewalk issues. So I don't really understand how issues are picked to,
Thank you.
to go through.
Thank you.
And if we can only have the time to talk and get answers back, then we need to have time definitely set aside at the work sessions. Thank you.
John Hendel, 59 Griswold Place. Joan, thank you. You took a lot of my questions, so I appreciate that. Just a couple of quick comments here. I wanted to thank the Chamber of Commerce for just a wonderful event that they had over the weekend. There were just so many people that came by. I'd never actually been someone who was an exhibitor, and it was just great to see all the tremendous feedback from the people in the town. So thank you to the Chamber for doing such an outstanding job. Really excited about the Narcan initiative that we talked about here tonight. That's really great for the town overall. Fire department, glad to hear a lot about that. Just another plug to consider volunteering. Raise your hand. I'm sure they'd love to have you come and talk. I had a lot of the similar questions about the garbage that I wanted to ask in the work session. I know that there were towns mentioned that were examined. I'd love to know which towns those are. I love to find data and would like to research those things on my own. So if that can be supplied, that would be great. In terms of the tree removal on the sidewalks, I know that's been happening since May. I'd like to understand how many trees have been removed as a result of the sidewalks and the problems with the sidewalks. If there's a data point that could be provided, that would be great. And then lastly, the commuter spots that was brought up in the working session also. Yes, I agree. They're a huge revenue driver for the town. I think the ones in the mainline lot are being underutilized. This is an issue that I've brought up before the council. By count of last Thursday, which was a pretty busy day, everyone's back to work, there were 120 commuter spots that were vacant. About 60 of them were in the mainline lot. So my recommendation or suggestion to the council is let's take 20 of those spots over in the mainline lot, let's turn them into a monthly spot for out-of-towners and try to promote it the rest of the year as a pilot to see if it works. If we only charge $200 a month to the out-of-towners, that's $4,000 of revenue that can fund a lot of the projects that we've been talking about in the working session. And if it works, maybe we expand it next year if there are still spots available. I really hope you'll take this into consideration because we're all looking to raise revenue for the town that's not at the cost of the taxpayer. Thanks.
Thank you. Anybody else? All right. Can I get a motion to close this public meeting?
I'll make that motion.
A second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Thank you.